is that not going in? Uh-oh. The U-joint is not clearing. It's not good. Hey everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. So if you watched the last video, you know we have an issue with the left front wheel of the 4x4 conversion. So we're gonna pull that apart in this video and see what the problem is. I think it might be a bearing and definitely a U-joint. So let's get into it, figure out what we need to repair. Here's what I noticed. If you look, see all that play? It's kind of hard to tell the shadowing, but see how everything's moving. That's usually a bearing. So we're gonna get this thing apart, retire into the four-wheel drive hub here and see what we need to replace. So anytime you buy something from the junkyard, you gotta kind of expect something to be wrong with it. So I'm not too surprised that I found an issue with it, but overall, you know, you gotta check everything on it. You gotta check the diff fluid, probably pull the cover off, make sure it's all good in there. I didn't feel any real play in the diff, so should be good on that. But this wheel here is definitely making a lot of noise, so we gotta figure out what the heck's wrong with it. Another thing I gotta do is figure out what I need to do to adapt this to a dually wheel as well, and figure out what size dually wheels will fit on it. And also see what the difference is as far as where the wheel's gonna be at. Because on the original dually, on the original axle, you know, those wheels were like a foot inside the fender well, and I'd rather have them be out a little bit further. So hopefully this will bring it back out, because it seems like it's a little wider right now. But with the dually wheels, they're shaped like this, so they go in further once they're on. So we'll see what we can find and what'll work for this diff. All right, so we gotta lube everything up, because that's how it's been sitting for a while. So is this a star bit? It might be a star bit. Torx bit. I don't know what year they went and started going to the Torx bits, but that's Allen. That's cool. Much better. Pretty sure it should be a 3/8 Allen. Of course, the brake line's in the way, because why wouldn't it be? Will it come off? Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Kind of afraid those wouldn't come off. Yeah, I feel like it might be stuck on the rotor. Yeah. Who's there? Hey, baby. What are you doing? You're a good girl. I'm gonna get you dirty. There we go. This spins a lot nicer. But hear all that play? We gotta fix that. Allen head screws and Phillips head screws. Which one pulls this thing off? What you doing? Just gotta be on my lap, don't you? Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Well, as much as I miss the duck, at least you guys can be out here now. Can I get this thing apart now? Can I? You're being pushy today. Yeah, it's definitely bones. I get some tools. Well, there's rock now too. God, what are you? Paper girl. I'm not familiar with these type of hubs. I'm used to the ones that have the cap on the ends. So we'll see how this goes. So just the Phillips heads. You have to remove the Allen heads too. It's already weird that they're backwards. You gotta turn counterclockwise to engage them. So is the Phillips heads enough to get the cap off? No. Oh, why do they do this stuff? Why do they start it? Oh, they're Torx. Seriously? Not that big of a deal. I have one, but it's like, come on. Cool, they come off easy too. This is a T20. So the Torx bits are T20. So the bearing feels smooth. It's got a play in it. So I'll be curious to see exactly what's wrong. It's the matter bit. Hold on. Okay, what am I missing? Should just come off. There it goes. Ah, it's even spring loaded. So what was the point of the two different screws? Spring, yes. Oh, one's a guide, I think. I don't know. Oh no, it's got a snap ring on it too. We get the snap ring off, and then we gotta get, it is a hex nut, maybe 12 point. Get those tools out and I'll be back. Snap ring. So the other thing you have to pull off of this to get the inner hub out is there's an outer snap ring as well. See how it goes around there? It's kind of a pain in the butt to get. But once it's out, it's kind of like a piston ring snap ring. But so that's out now. So this inner hub should be able to come right out now, I think. I really thought that would make that come out. There it goes. God dang, that thing was stuck in there. Whew. That didn't want to come out. Oh, it's one of those kind of nuts. Awesome. I think I actually have that socket. Right on. That sucker is just tight. Yeah, fine. Probably this is the right socket. Just need a little persuasion. Actually fits. Got a little locking ring in here. It's like got little keys on it. That, see all those little holes right there? Those are what lock it into place once you get it set to where it needs to where you have the preload set properly. Has to work on this one now. I'm tightening it. So tightening it did help it, but we gotta look at the bearings because being that loose, pretty sure there's something wrong with them. Oh. I have to pull all this stuff off of here too to get to the U-joint. But I just want to check the, so there's our U-joint problem. But the bearing in this is definitely bad too because you saw the play in it. Let's get this over the bench. Oh. So I'm trying to figure out what made me decide that working on big trucks at, you know, in my prime years, I should say, when I'm 50, starting on bigger stuff, what the heck was I thinking? The spindle. That looks pretty good. No lip. So those look good. So the bearing being bad didn't loosen those up. That's good. So we're good on that. So our knuckle, our spindle, whatever you want to call it, looks to be pretty good. So we should be all right with that. Might just be a bearing change. And then obviously the U-joint. But we'll show you that once we get it all out. That is one beefy back plate for the brakes, isn't it? It's crazy. Clean that off so we can see what we're dealing with. It comes time to remove it. All right, so these are the bearings that came out of it. Don't look great. They don't feel horrible, but I definitely feel a lip on the race surface at the bottom, and the outer one is even worse. It's got a real thick one, so the races are definitely worn down. So I think just replacing the bearing assemblies, the races and the bearings. New seal, we should be good on the front, at least on this one. We'll probably check the other side too, just to be sure, but this one definitely needs new bearings. Everything else looks all right. I don't know thickness of the rotor or anything, but the teeth on the locker, the lock for the wheels looks pretty good. And like I said, you can almost see the lip down there. If you look right there on the edge, that's a lip from being worn down. You can kind of see it there. And you can see the hot marks too, hot spots. So definitely new races and bearings for those, for the hubs. And then probably new rotors. We'll check the thickness of them. Actually, they don't look that worn down. I just need them cleaned up. I just don't know anybody around here. Well, there might be somebody I haven't checked that can turn rotors. I'm going to remove these backing plates for the brakes, and we'll see what we got to do to get the rest of it out. All right, might have to go bigger. So I guess you got to take the knuckle off, huh? Like I said, this is the first four-wheel drive stuff I really worked on since like '91. And I didn't really work on anything then. I just owned a four-wheel drive. Let me see. Maybe just slides off now. Just dirty. Kind of looks like that's going to separate from there. So I wonder if I just kind of tapped on it, if it would come off. It kind of looks like it would. Gently. Oh yeah, look at that. Not to mess up the seal surface. A good dummy. That's still good. So where's a good place to hit it? Maybe right there. Non-bearing surface. All right, we're getting somewhere. Pretty sure once we get this spindle off of here, or whatever you want to call this piece right here, that we can get we'll be able to get the axle out, because these don't have C-clips, from what my buddy told me, who's a Diff expert. Look at that. That's pretty cool, because if this was bad, it looks like we could replace it. Now, can we get the axle out? Would you look at that? See what I'm saying with the U-joint? That's not a good thing. So we have to replace the U-joint, which ain't a big thing. Pretty sure there's a seal right there in the axle tube too. So we're trying to tear that up, and we're pulling it out. And 28 spline, by the looks of it. That's a seal, so we have to remember that. There's supposed to be a seal on the end of that. But yeah. Shouldn't move back and forth that easy. So that's our next problem, is that. So bearings, U-joint on this side. Definitely want to check the diff to make sure it's got fluid in it. I haven't checked that yet. We didn't run it long enough when we were testing it out to do any damage. That's pretty crusty in there. I'll clean that up, so get rid of all that flaky rust. There you have it. Tearing the axle out's not too hard. Just clean your surfaces so you know that it actually comes off. So yeah, there we go. Oh, maybe that seal is all the way inside the axle tube, way down there. Oh yeah, it is. So So the axle seal all the way down to the bottom. So right there's the surface for that. There's your axle seal. So you definitely want to pull that whole thing apart at some point and replace some stuff. All right, so we're gonna get up in here and pull this diff cover off. Gonna clean it up first around the holes, the bolt holes, the bolts. Get this cover, pull it off, and one, see what we got in there, and two, to see what the gear ratio is for it. So let me get it cleaned up, and I'll bring it back when I'm getting ready to pull the cover off. All right, we got 2 bolts left to go. And you sort of see what might be in this. So far, nothing. All right, so what are we hoping for? Hoping for empty or fluid. A fluid other than water. We don't want water. Oh, and what do we get? We get some water. But it wasn't much. It might be all right. It definitely could have been a lot worse. It's thick. So there was a little bit of water that came out, but there ain't a whole lot coming out now, so that's a good thing. Yeah, there isn't much water mixed in there. That's good. I'll take that. A little bit's fine. I have a rag out here a minute ago. This time I keep forgetting I have gloves. You can definitely see there's moisture in it. See the rust on the lid, but everything looks good in there. Now the key is what gear ratio we got here. Okay, so we have one of two. Why is this not going? Let's look for the stamp on the gear. I ain't seeing nothing. There's some markings right there, but I cannot tell with these safety glasses on. Can't tell without glasses on either. I need my reading glasses. And what do we have? 4L1280. Are there numbers anywhere? Obviously it says 1041. There's a part number there. Get a picture of that so I can look it up. Okay, so I don't know how well it's going to come off on video here, but if you see those numbers right there, so that there is kind of a part number. I looked it up, but it doesn't come through. Usually on gears, see the 10? So you got these numbers right here, which is a 10, 10, and 41. I'm kind of upside down right now, but you understand what I'm talking about. So it's a 10 and a 41. If you divide that into it, it comes out to 410. So these should be 410 gears. And I think that's the manufacturing date, 12/80. So not too bad. I can live with that. 10, it's actually 410s are what I wanted, because it's pretty easy finding a 14 bolt to replace that HO72 back there with 410s. I found like 5 of them already on Marketplace. So find those, get the 410s in the rear, and we'll have matching up front so we can run the 4-wheel drive without any problems. Now, if you need to, you can also go in, it takes a little bit. See the pinion gear back there? You can count the teeth on them. So take a marker and mark it, or like a paint marker. Mark the one tooth, start there, and start counting. And that ring gear, or that pinion gear, is gonna have 10 teeth on it. If you count the teeth on this ring gear, it's gonna come out to 41. And that's where you get your 410 gears. So that's what that 41 right there means. So we're looking at, happy about that. We got 410s. It's either this or 373s. But I'll take the 410s over 373s for this rig. Better towing capacity. And a little better crawling and off-road stuff. All right, so we figured out what the gear ratio is for the front end. It's a 410. So now we got to figure out what the rear end, what the ratio is for the rear end. So I already know, I figured it out, but I'm going to show you how I figured that out by, there's a trick you can do with an open diff to figure out what your gear ratio is. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, when trying to determine the gear ratio on an open differential. On a posi, it's really easy. You just spin the tire because it's all locked together, and you count the number of times that this pinion goes around, and that'll give you close to what your gear ratio is. Then you can look up what those vehicles came with and get an idea of what you have. So like I said, I already did this, so I know what it's going to be, but I marked the yoke right here to this bolt. That way I know where the starting point's at. And I'm going to mark the tire over here to coincide with the leaf spring here. And that side, I'm blocking the tire in so it doesn't move. Then you spin the tire around and you count the number of times it rotates. So there's one, there's two, and you look for your mark, and there's the mark. And we are at the top right here. Now you want to take your block and move it to the other side and lock that side in. Now you want to mark this tire and do the same thing. So we'll lock this one in and spin this tire around. That's our 3 right there came down. There's 4. Still don't see the mark on the tire yet. Coming around to number 5. And there's our mark on the tire. Continue on a little bit further. So maybe about 10%. So that tells me it's a 5.14 gear ratio, because I've looked up the ratios that came in these HO72s, and 5.14 is one of them. So that's how you do it with an open diff. You just block one wheel, then count that number, then block the other wheel, spin it, clock that number, add them together, and you get your gear ratio. That's all there is to it. Pretty simple. So some of the parts came in that I ordered for the axles. And this is the seal kit that goes around here. It's all these pieces here, this one and this one, right here. This is just, I guess, a washer. And then there's a bearing inside the axle housing, or the hub right there, which is right here. So those are those kits right there. So we've got one per side. So I got those. There's no sense in doing those because I don't have the U-joints yet, which kills me because those came from Colorado. The U-joints are coming from Dallas, Texas, which is about 4 hours away. And these got here before they did. And they got to Oklahoma City last night, both of them, but only one came today. So the other one will be here tomorrow. And as far as the brakes go, the rotors, they're coming from Syracuse, New York, and so are the bearings. And the bearings left yesterday. Actually, they all left yesterday. But anyways, so those will be the ones that come the latest, because for one, it's Syracuse, New York, and they're getting snow right now, so it might be slowed down a little bit. But we got some of the parts. I just left and left me some parts. So we got the U-joints for the front now. Why they go purple, I don't know, but yeah, whatever. Got to put them on. I went with the non-grease fitting ones just because of access is tight in there. Suppose I could have got them and just used the needle attachment on a grease gun I have, but you know, U-joints went years and years and years without greasable fittings, so hopefully these will too when I went to the spicers. So let's get the first one out and get it replaced. We'll get the bad one first. So this is definitely a major problem in the front. Those needle bearings are completely gone. So we're going to get this all cleaned up and hopefully get this separated pretty easily. And I hope these are the right ones to boot. Look about right. And internal clip just like these. So we should be good. I also got a new rebuild kit too that replaces the bearing in here and replaces these seals out here too. So one of those will go onto the axle end too. I don't know what's that called. I don't know. We got to clean all that up. We'll clean all this up and get her done. These are a mess. Well, we got it semi cleaned up so we can see what we're doing. See if we can get these clips off of here. Put on my safety glasses. Well, part of the clip came out. Not much left of that one. Can't tell where the clip's at. It does not want to come out the whole way. It's breaking apart. There it goes. Now we can actually work on getting the damn thing out. Pardon my French. Should we use the press? Yeah, put it flat down on the floor on the table. Try it like this instead. So it doesn't move around so freaking much. And just elevate with the box. That'll work. So that's about perfect. Alright, watch your ears. So you guys watch your ears, I need to watch my ears. It's starting to move, but it ain't moving very fast. Let's put a little heat in there. Now when using heat, you got to kind of worry about the grease exploding, but I really doubt these have any grease left in them. So how dry they looked and how they were acting. They're very loose. These are spicers that are in here, so that's good. Spicer is probably the best I can think of. It's time to employ 20 pounds of, or 20 tons of pressure. Try one more time. I hit my wall. Did I miss a piece of the freaking clip? On that side. I don't see any. Maybe try going back the other way. Wow, that's loud. Time to employ the tonnage. It wasn't being held by much, was it? Maybe that's the problem. I was using the wrong size. It was too big. It's too small. Yep, got her stuck. All right, so when doing this, make sure you use this much bigger than the size of the cap spacer to get it off. How about that? Yes, that one would have been better. It fits over. I wonder if that was the problem the whole time. Probably. So that's an old school trick. If it's stuck on there, if you tap on the side of the yoke, it'll help knock that off. And now you have to go back the other direction. This joint is trash. Can't get it out. There it goes. Yeah, there was 0 needle bearings left. Completely gone, shattered everything. Yoke. Don't see any damage on it, luckily. So that looks pretty good. You just clean her up and get her ready for the new one. We'll get this one out first. I think we'll use the press again because now that I know it's the right size brace to put in there to pop it out, should be a little easier. We didn't knock the rings out of this one, did we? Nope, but now that's stuck in there, let's do it now. There's one. That's all of them. That one still has some needle bearings. They're just completely dry. Sometimes you gotta be careful because if you dry that too far, then the cap will get stuck in this side and you won't be able to get it out. And yeah, good times. The very last one has needle bearings and grease. I'm gonna clean that up and then I'll come back. All right, so this is probably the worst part about doing U-joints. You have to take them apart, risking losing the needle bearings to put them back in. So what we're gonna do, very carefully remove 2 of them. Leave the other 2 on there. And it's full of grease, so we don't have to worry about that. You're gonna place it in here. I cleaned all the surfaces up, so it should be nice and clean. And you want to slip one in on one end. Look at that, it's actually going in pretty easily there. But get it in there as far as you can. And then put your U-joint back into the cap. That way, when you're tapping on it, it holds still. You're tapping this cap into the yoke. So as long as you keep checking as you go to make sure it ain't going too far, or none of the needles are kicked out. You want to put the other side in. Be sure to get it over the needle bearings. Okay, so definitely good on the needle bearings. I'm kind of doing both sides at once now. The needle bearing. I got lots of needle bearing. Yep, I can feel it. That's what you want to watch out for. I'll be back when I get that back off. Okay, so it turns out it did not lose any needle bearings. Just probably the grease that's in it was forcing it to come out or not go in. All right. So the other side's almost through to where we can put the clip in. So I want to get this one down to where the needle bearings can't come out. There we go. Now we're looking good. All right, let's try a clip. This is also part of the fun right here. Trying to do this without one of the spring clips going. And if you missed that, almost like that. So make sure it's centered in there. So there's that one, and one more. All right, and that feels really good. Clips are in, good on that. Now you gotta do the same thing from this side. I gotta clean this up though, I haven't cleaned it up yet. There you have it. One brand new U-joint. And it feels good. All right, so the other kit I had, this thing right here, and you can see it comes with a bearing, this little rubber piece here, and this little rubber piece here. Those are all seals. And then there is a piece, and then this plastic piece right here, that goes on first. And then this rubber seal here goes on after that. And then this one goes on around the shank, or around this ledge right here. So it goes around here. And this bearing goes in the yoke, or the spindle, or I don't know what that's called, but it goes in down here. I already pressed that one out, knocked that one out, so it's gonna go in to replace that. We'll clean this up a little bit. So the big chamfer on there, I'm pretty sure that goes on the inside. So it goes flat up against there, just like that. I'm not sure which way this goes. Let me look at the other one. Okay, so thin side out. See, it's got a fat side and a thin side, so the thin side goes out. I hadn't taken that one out all the way yet because I wanted to make sure I knew which way everything went. Oh, there's a tight fit. And then this one, gotta see which way it goes on. This one goes with the open end in towards the shaft here. And there you have it. One complete drive shaft. So that one's good to go, and we can put that in. And we gotta do the bearing on this still, which is just basically tapping her in after I clean it up. I don't want to mess up these threads, so I'm gonna get a block of wood. I got a big block of wood someplace, but I remember using it for something else, and I don't know what I did or where I used it, so. Which way does that go in? It goes like that or like that? Look at the other one. Let's say it goes the wider side down first by that one. So why you only do one side at a time? So that way you got something to reference to. Oh, that's actually perfect. So we're gonna tap this down in. I'm gonna tap it down the bigger one first and use this to drive the rest of the way in. It's the size of go down the hole. If you start with a bigger hole, bigger one to keep it straight. Because as of right now, you can probably see it in the video, it is not straight right now. Pretty sure it goes all the way in. So you drive this all the way in till it bottoms out. That was the bottoming out. You hear the tone difference when it hits. All right, so we are complete on this side. We can put this whole side back in. Still waiting on the bearings for the hub. Looks like it's gonna be Monday. Today's Friday, day after. It's the day after New Year, so it's January 2nd. But this can go back in and be ready for that. We can put this on too, because all the hub stuff is the other portion of it that goes over top of this. So get this cleaned up, everything back on. Got all that stuff done now, so we can go ahead and put all this stuff back in. I'm gonna clean up the hub a little bit, or this is the spindle or the knuckle, I guess. So I'm gonna clean up the surfaces around here just to make sure everything goes on good. We can get that axle put back in. I'll grease up the, I don't know what that thing's called. The yoke part, this piece. So we'll get some grease down inside there, make sure it's nice and lubed up, and we'll slide this thing back in. Well, we can slide this thing back in first and then this. But let's get her cleaned up first. All right, so this just goes in real simple. I need to revisit this anyways. So a lot of this is just mock-up right now because we got a lot to do other than just getting it to, you know, replacing parts. So one of the main things, we have to come back in here and clean, which means, like, you know, taking the diff cover's not sealed right now and it's empty because of, why is that not going in? Uh-oh. The U-joint is not clearing. It's not good. I did notice the caps on the other ones are kind of rounded off. I wonder if that's why. Okay, back out it comes. Gotta figure this out. You can see the caps definitely have a concave or convex shape to it. Am I focusing? Maybe I gotta grind it down a little bit. If it doesn't mess with the integrity of it. All right, so I just took a flap wheel on each edge of these. You can see it all the way around. Just kind of blended in with the yoke. And now, she goes in. There you go. Shouldn't be a problem anywhere else either, because right on. So you just gotta do some modifications. I think there's a certain U-joint you need for that, but whatever. Just gotta clearance it a little bit. Those caps have a lot of meat on them, so I'm not too worried about taking off a little tiny bit, not even a 16th. So good to go. Got her in. All right, so I'm just gonna gob a bunch of grease onto this. You know, I'm sure that notch right there is facing upward. So we're just gonna put some grease in here. Gonna pack her in there just like you do any bearing. I don't know what Bitty Bit's doing, but she's making some noise. Voila. Definitely got a lot more cleaning to do, but I'm gonna put all this stuff on so that way you can tighten that down. There you go. I don't know what Bitty Bit's mad about. All right, there we go. This side's done. All right, we got the front axles done. So we got new bearings in this piece right here, new U-joints. Still waiting on seals and bearings for the outers. So it kind of dawned on me that maybe people don't know how to remove the racers out of these hubs. I already did this one before I realized that, hey, might as well record it and show everybody. So basically you just need a kind of a long punch, and I modified this one to thin it out a little bit because these ledges on here are pretty small. You just got to get down into the bearing area. You can feel the little lip right there. You just go in and tap her out. Work your way back and forth from side to side. You'll know when you hit it right, because you'll feel it kind of drop a little bit. You just keep doing this back and forth. It's kind of dark down center, so you just gotta feel your way around. One more hit should do it, I bet. Yep. I just bottomed out, and there it is. So there's that one. Flip it over, do the same thing. This one's a little easier to see because it's right closer to the top. Even though right now there is a grip of grease in here. Look at all that grease in there. All right, so do the same thing with this one. Make sure you take your time with this one because you got the teeth for the splines for the four-wheel drive for the locker. So you don't want to slam it into that. So just take your time going back and forth, nice and slowly. And there's that one. One with a lot of the grease. That's all there is to getting those races out. Just gotta knock them out with some kind of a punch. Now that's your typical good old waiting game, waiting on parts. Today's Saturday, I should be here Monday, but I know they're in Oklahoma City. We got there last night, so definitely should be here on Monday. I'll clean these hubs up. Well, since I'm waiting on parts, might as well look the parts, make the parts I have look good. So I'm gonna throw some paint on these hubs to help protect them and to make them look better. I did order a new hub because of how trashed that one is down inside there. See all those nicks? Well, that's the bearing, that's the race surface where it stands on. So if that's messed up, that can throw off your bearings pretty bad. So order another one of those because, you know, I already ordered the brake rotors that just, you know, press on there. As you can see from the box explosions around here, we got some parts in. So we got all the front bearings and seals, rotors for the front. Still waiting on the hub because I'm not going to use that hub that's all chewed up like that. That will definitely chew up a bearing. Got the shoes and the wheel bearings for their wheel cylinders for this. So everything else looks good on it. Springs look good. Even the drums barely had a lip on it. So these nice thick freaking new shoes, just to replace those, we'll take care of it, I think. So we're good on the rear, almost good on the front. Like I said, I got all the bearings and they're all the right ones. I checked them already. So we still got to install them, the races and everything inside, and I'll show you how to do that. But other than that, we're good. So that's awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get these bearing races hammered in. So I'm gonna start with the rear one, or the inner one. Stick her down in there. All right, looks like it's gonna fit perfect. The biggest one, still waiting on the other hub to come in because I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna use the one that has all those nicks in it. That'll just end up causing big problems. So let's get this thing hammered in. All right, watch your ears. Done. So that's that one. Should have waited to put the new rotor on, but I haven't cleaned it yet, so it's all right. Let's see which one's going to fit this one. Yep, let's say it's that one. This one's a lot deeper down in there. Gotta kind of get it down in there. Switch out our puck. Well, hopefully that's good. All right, so the next step is going to be greasing them. Boy, that isn't centered in the hole at all, is it? Hopefully it's the design of the hub that's messed up and not the race, but okay, they're both the same. It's crazy. It's not centered, like the inside of the hub isn't centered to the bearing race. It's kind of weird. All right, now we gotta grease them. All right, so we're gonna grease these things up, get the seal put in. I'm not gonna grease the outer yet, not until we're getting closer to putting it in. I use my handy dandy greaser here. Ah, crap. It doesn't stick to my fingers. I love these things because you just stick it in there. This is what I love about this thing. If you look, you can see how it all comes out. So it fills all those areas. Move it around and do it one more time just because it is cold this morning. It's 47 degrees or so. So it's grease is a little thick. But plenty of grease that way. Stick her down in there. Grab a little of this extra just to shove down inside there a little bit more. It's a lot easier than doing the scraping method on your hand, but still the same amount of mess because you got to pick it up out of there and put it in. So, but that, you know, goes with the territory. Get the seal out. So I always put grease. I try to put grease down inside here because sometimes that spring will pop out on you. So I just like to pack it full of grease as well, just so it doesn't allow that to pop out when you're hammering this in. All right, there we go. All right, so the inner is installed along with the seal. Cool, so we're good on that. Got to grease the outer and then get everything put on. I think I'm going to clean up the backing plate and do some cleaning on that real quick first, just so it, because the hubs are nice and painted now, or the hub, and that one will be when I get it. But might as well do the backing plate too. That way, some of my parts look good, look clean and new. All right, we got that painted up. We're gonna let it dry for a little bit. Then we can put it back on and we can finish installing this all new bearings and everything on here. And hopefully it spins nice and freely and smooth. So let that dry for a little bit, go in the house and warm up a little bit because my hands are cold. All right, I got that backing plate painted up nicely. Let's go ahead and get this hub and rotor installed here. Just real carefully put it on there and pop it on. Hopefully it stays while we get the other bearing ready to go on. All right, first things first, we'll get some grease on this bearing here. Use the step method this time. No, I'm not going to track oil everywhere, grease everywhere. So I'm going to end up freaking slipping off this thing and bashing my head against something here. I can just tell. All right. Put a little bit of grease up inside here. There it goes. What a mess. All right, now I need the lock of the ring, and that is not the right one. I need the one with a little pin in it, because it's going to have a little pin, which is what locks it in place. Right there it is. And that one goes in first. If you have the proper tools, use them. Makes it a little bit easier for you. All right. Feel pretty good. Since they're brand new bearings, I want to kind of seat them a little bit harder than what you normally would. All right, that's too much, so just back her off about a quarter turn. That's feeling pretty good. Nice and greasy. So now we got to take our little lock ring here. Hopefully it lines up with the pin. If it doesn't, then we got to move it till it does. There it goes. I don't know how you're supposed to tell if it's actually on a pin. I don't feel any gap. The thing is, oh wait, it's definitely not in a hole. I'm gonna get it back out again. I forgot I lowered this thing down some to try to work the cab on the chassis before I removed it again, but I think that's it right there. I don't feel it moving or rocking on a pin, so I think we got it. So now you take your second ring here, your second lock, second nut, and put it on to lock her in. And when you're tightening this down, you want to feel, make sure you're not crushing that pin. Should be a nice solid. Yep, that's it right there. We're good. And you lock that down because that's what holds it in. And I shouldn't have adjusted the preload at all, so we're good to go on that. Cool. And we'll do the four-wheel drive stuff here in a second after I clean up a little bit here. All right, so I threw some grease onto the four-wheel drive hub here, and now you can slide this in over the axle. Gotta get it turned just right because it's gotta go onto the axle and into the hub. Let me throw a little grease around that O-ring here. There's an O-ring right here is what seals it. You just want to make sure it doesn't get bound up. I probably should have replaced that, but I don't have one, so we're going to go with what it is. And just like that. I think it needs to go in quite a bit further because we got to get the, there's a washer or a shim and a lock ring that needs to go on there. So I don't know if this can go further, if the axle needs to be pulled out a little bit. I guess the axle needs to be pulled out a bit. See, there's a shim, and the other side is actually missing this shim, which isn't a good thing. And then there's a clip here, a C-clip. There's also a clip that goes around the outside of this too, and that's what this little thing is here. Then we can put the cap on. But let's get that axle, I mean, we can just push it out from here. Maybe it's already out. I don't think it is. Yeah, almost 100%. That needs to come out a lot further. Oh, this freaking grease. It's better to have too much, not enough though, right? We get a pry bar. Let's see about prying this out. Was that enough? Some of those times where I could use an extra set of hands. Let's try that. Probably have the clip ready to go before I pry on it, huh? Let's try getting this clip in. If we get this one in, that needs cleaned up. Okay, I think that one went in. So let me have a socket, just kind of tap on that, see if it'll go in. That should work. That looks like it's a little further in. It's not going in. What the hell? Maybe I'm wrong about that shim. Maybe it doesn't need to be there. Maybe with it being everything new, the shim was, I don't know. I'll have to do some more research on this thing, but. All right. So, I guess the shim didn't really do anything. Everything's on the way it should be. So the next thing we got to do is install this, and it's got set screws that hold it into this little groove right here, and then we have our locking hub. And these are our Torx bit screws. So these Torx bits are T20s. You just screw those in, and it locks the hub into place, and hopefully it works. All right, these are counterclockwise to lock them in for some reason. Got locked in? No. It's unlocked. That should be locked. There we go. You see the drive shaft moving now. You turn it clockwise to unlock it. And now the drive shaft does not turn. All right, good on this side. Oh, what a hassle. But we're good on everything working. And it feels good. Not too tight. Just enough drag on it. And it'll wear in. We'll check those later once we drive it a little bit. So we still need calipers, but that's the last thing we need for the fronts at least. And if you notice, I straightened that bar because I can't seem to find that. They've done a change where you have to buy extra parts that all screw together instead of just that one center section. So got to figure that one out still, but it's straighter than it was. It should hold up. If it doesn't, I'll weld some bars on it or something. I don't know. That's one side reassembled on that one. Like I said, we got to wait for the hub. And once that comes in, we'll get this one done. I'll probably pull the plate off everything, get it all cleaned up, make it look like that one does. But that's pretty much it for doing the front. As far as getting them U-joints replaced, especially on that side, and the bearings. So I think we're good. So we got this side done here. We got to wait on that, the driver's side, because that hub. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer than expected. I still need to get springs. I think I'm going to probably go through Rough Country for that. It's the best deal. I can buy stock ones for more than a 4-inch lift. So I don't know. So if I do that, I have to do something back here that I hate to do, and that's put a 4-inch lift block in it. But you know, we'll see what happens with that. But that takes care of the front end repairs. Like I said, we're just waiting on parts. We got the bearings. We did the U-joint and rebuilt that little spindle thingy. So that's all good. Just like I said, parts. So yeah, on that note, I think we're gonna go ahead and end this video here. So we got this was a troubleshooting and fixing of the front end that we pulled at the junkyard. So still a few things we gotta do, but you know, it's waiting on parts basically. So on that note, if you like this video, leave a like down there, leave me a comment, let me know what I can do better, and subscribe while you're at it, and look at that Firebird. But anyways, so like I said, we got the front end done for the most part. A couple little things we got to do to get it ready, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, because we got a car show, well, a truck show coming up in April, and I want to have this thing done by that. And if you'll see some of the videos, if you've seen some of my shorts, you saw I made a list over there of the stuff that needs to be done right there, or right there. I'm pointing at the phone, but it's right there. And doing some body work over in the corner there, but I want to get this thing running and driving and ready for a 100-mile one-way trip. So a 200-mile trip, 2 days in a row. So make sure you turn your notification, because that video is coming out for the start of that. And so yeah, we got other things going on. But like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all being here this long. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.